welcome back with Filigree Racing. Now, what I've decided to do is I'm going to cut the videos right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to conclude all of this as season 1. We started about a year ago, so as kind of a, rough 1 year, we're going to break it as season 1, which concluded as teardown from last year all the way up to the last race of this year. Now, I know that we didn't actually end up racing this last weekend. I'll get into why, but we're going to go through, we're going to show you what mods we actually have to the car because it was a lot to follow. We did a follow-up last year about this time that told everyone what it kind of was, what was going on, different mods, kind of tell you what the car really is. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to show you what the car is now at the end of season 1 of our videos. This is actually our 3rd season of our actual racing. Now, I've been taking the car to the track since 2018, so we have 2018, 19, and 20. So try not to get those two confused. I know it's going to be weird for the first year or two, but then people kind of forget about, the fact that we've actually had the car on track since 2018. But I'm going to go ahead, we're going to show you what's going on. So that way, if you actually see it in our engine bay and you're like, what the heck is that? It's explained, you don't have to go looking through videos. So let's go ahead, we're going to start under the hood. So let's get into that first. Okay, so kind of a wide shot of our hood. Now the first things that people are going to be noticing is going to be, let's kind of start from this side now. This is a Mishimoto oiled filter. This is Cork Sports intake. I'll kind of go through. I'm going to be doing a season 2 opener. I'm going to be telling you what's all going away and all of our changes for the next season in that season opener in that first video. So don't worry too much. If you see something you're kind of like, well, that's going away. Well, yeah, you're right. So that's Cork Sport. Now, our engine is actually a stock long block. We've never cracked it. I have not even replaced the valve cover gasket, even though I know I kind of need to. I haven't done it. Now, you'll notice we also have our factory battery, and I threw it back in. We were waiting for the bracket to do that, which, it's right here. You'll see, this little nice machined aluminum polished bracket. That's what we were waiting on. So again, that's coming in season 2, so don't stress that too much. Now, the next thing that we're going to kind of get into is these. These are actually our external reservoirs. A lot of people don't understand what those are. A lot of people notice those because, they're, both of them are nice and clear. So a lot of people don't understand what these are. These are actually for our coilovers. Oh, you hear it click. That's our adjustments for our coilovers. That's what these actually are. We weren't getting too crazy hot on these being that close to the header, but I'll probably, this next year, we're gonna be pushing more power. I'll probably end up shielding those so we don't have to worry about it. Now, you'll notice the line for it actually comes back here. And then we see if we can kind of get in. Now you'll notice our camber plates are actually turned. We turned those. So those are actually now no longer necessarily camber. Those are more of caster plates. So it angles, it actually shoves the entire strut kind of at an angle this way. And so when you shove it at an angle that way, it allows you to adjust the caster. Caster will center your steering wheel while driving. Now, that's the header. I'm not going to get too crazy in that. I have plans for that. I know a lot of people are excited to kind of see that happen. I'm excited to see that happen. I'm excited to see that thing gone. But I'll kind of get into that in another video, so don't worry too much. Our issue with the factory battery is you notice, we have battery acid all over. That thing freaking, it's a mess. So that's why we have the other battery, our external reservoir. Maybe you can see the camber plate a little bit better from this side. you know, you can kind of see that it angles. All right, so that goes ahead. That's gonna sum up what's going on in the engine bay. Now, things that you cannot see is things like the rear motor mount, the transmission mount. I do not have a short shift kit in this car because I've had continuous transmission problems this entire year. It's just been a headache. So I ended up selling it here this last summer. It's gone. I don't want it anymore. I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal to long shift. Now, I do have some things in the work as far as what my plan is, because I do have an upgraded race clutch. There's Clutchmaster 725 video. I'll try to link that in the video so you can click on it if you really want to go to that. But that ended up dropping like 30 pounds off of our clutch and flywheel assembly, which is massive. That our new twin disc only weighs 17 pounds. The flywheel itself weighed 7. That's really freaking good. Like really freaking good weight. I mean, you're talking 7-pound flywheel. That's pretty impressive. But our twin disc, that part was 10 pounds. So our flywheel was actually lighter than the twin disc, which is kind of crazy to think about. But that's in there. There's a few other things. We have other videos. There's, you know, our LSD that went in it. It is a Franson LSD, or Frana, that's what it is. Frana Vehicles built the LSD. There was only 3 of them built, but it's in there. It's a helicoil style or a torsion style, if you really want to, depending on how you want to call it, I guess. They're both very similar. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna jump into the interior now, so we can show you that. Okay, so this is our interior now. You'll notice we're actually missing that door panel. We are stripped, you know. We'll kind of show you in the back real quick. So, I mean, we don't have interior really at all. You know, there's just not a whole lot. This here is a Brom Racing harness bar. We ended up powder coating it white from a local place. But we'll go ahead, we'll jump back up to the front. Now, these are Sparco QRTR seat. Now, that one over there is actually a QR or Evo XL. These are Sparco's 6-point harness. Had to think for a second. That's a 6-point harness. What makes it a 6-point is there's 2 straps down here, and then there's your strap here, and then you're throwing over a strap right there. But it is, you know, you can count them from here. There's 6. Now, that side, again, 6-point, nothing really. The only difference between them is the seat on that side is different. Now, we have a video of our airbag control module. That's what this this little piece is here. You can kind of see it move a little bit, you know, the connectors on this side. I actually have a video of how to flip that. If you want to check it out, I'll try to link the video on that. That actually disables all of our traction control, allows us to get the car to do what we want it to do on track, you know, and then we kind of go up towards our dash. There's nothing too spectacular. Sparco shift knob, we again did it white. You know, we still have the factory head unit, but I mean, obviously no speakers, no music. So, you know, this here is actually part of our gauges that are right here. These are Obd2 gauges. I'm gonna climb in so you guys can see this a little bit better, but we'll even kick the car batteries on. So these are Interceptor, Aeroforce's Interceptor gauges. They plug in, you know, right here, so that way you can kind of see where they go. That's actually my USB port. Usually it's underneath the car. My car, it's not. It's right there. We had a shop, they moved it there. I don't know why. But Aeroforce gauges, they track coolant. That bottom one is actually oil pressure, AF, and then horsepower, because I don't have my ethanol hooked up, so I just threw it on horsepower. Now, let's talk about the steering wheel. So This here is Sparco's P160, I believe. It is on Sparco's quick release, you know, nice little quick release. We'll kind of pop that off. This is their, this right here is their quick release mechanism. This right here is actually their hub. It's for the Mustangs. I'll link that in the description below if you actually want to look at what that actually is. But it's like the 05 and up Mustangs. If you want to Google it, that's what it is. Now you'll notice, you know, I got dash lights all over the place, start button flashes, you know, race car, stupid shit like that. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the interior of the car. I mean, it's, like I said, it's pretty gutted in here. There's not a whole lot going on. Crazy, right? Race car. That's what they say, race car everything. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna throw it up on jack stands, and then I'm gonna pop off some wheels so you can actually see our suspension setup. Our suspension setup is actually fairly customized. It's not off-the-shelf stuff. We've bought off-the-shelf stuff. It hasn't worked for us. We've modified that stuff. I'll kind of show you what's going on. We'll show you our brake setup. I will show you our other stuff on top of that, but we'll go ahead and we'll get into that right now. Okay, so I was lazy. I just put up one side of the car, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm going to show you kind of what's going on there real quick. Then I'm going to take the wheels off, show you on what's going on even more. So this right here is our street setup. Nothing spectacular. These are actually Gorilla tuner lug nuts. I actually found those. They're actually pretty durable for like $70 lug nuts. I've impacted them off. I've impacted them on. I mean, they're pretty durable, stuff like that. These are a Koenig Renform 18 by 8. 45 wheel. That's pretty basic. The rear is actually the same. Now our track setup is actually a little bit different because our track setup is 18 by 940. So that's the only difference is, other than, I mean, they've got a little bit of a concave, but not anything crazy. So let's go ahead, let's get the wheels off. Okay, so we've gotten in here. Now these are cork sport brakes. We've modified these for our own purposes, all that good stuff. You know, these are not off-the-shelf cork sport. These are actually our HEL brake lines. I actually build these, I sell these. If you want some, hit me up. I can get some for you. I can build them for you. I can build them any way you want. Not a big deal. These are scale coilovers. You've seen the top side of them up on top. Now this is actually a thrust bearing. That is to rotate things, make sure that everything's working good. Making it so that there's no spring bind, anything crazy. These are actually Swift springs, which they're like 12K springs. Now if we get down in here, you'll notice that this is actually my sway bar bracket right there. You'll notice we do not have a front sway bar at all. That is completely gone. I went through, I deleted that. It's gone. So let's jump to the back. We're on the back. Now, again, scale external reservoir, that's what that is. These are scales dampeners right here. These are custom modified cork sport control arms. Then this right here is a hard race custom modified tow arm. And then if we jump to this other side, again, HEL brake line right here. This right here is our rear spring. That's actually a 15K spring. Right here is our adapter to adapt that spring on. There's another adapter down here. Again, thrust bearing in it. Now, if we can see it, kind of see if we can get in here a little bit. Not sure if you can see it or not. We'll have to lay on the ground so you can. So this right here is a Eibach spherical bearing end link. This is a custom modified Corksport rear sway bar. We had some issues with it. We welded it this last season. Now, while we're here, this is Corksport's 80mm exhaust. It goes all the way up. And then this is Corksport's headlight adjuster, as crappy as that thing is. That's what that is. We actually do have, if you see that little blue thing over there, or, you know, blue thing right here, that is poly bushings for the exhaust to hold it up. Kind of get you a little bit better of a view of what's all going on in here. You know, the line. These are height adjustable for the dampeners, so you can adjust them correctly. All that good stuff. So let's go ahead and jump to the body. I know that's a lot to keep up with. Now, I'm sure I'm forgetting things. I forgot things last time. I'm sure I'm forgetting things again this time. You can go to Filigree Racing. You can see our actual full parts list on that site. I'll link it down below. It's under the About Us section. You can go there. You can see all that. But let's go ahead. Let's check out what's going on with the body. Now, there's not anything crazy too radical, but as you can see, first off, these, right? These right here are our hood vents. These cool our engine, reduces lift. These are actually massive. By the time you actually measure them from one side all the way over and from top to bottom, you're like 3 feet across and like 2.5 feet long. They're actually bigger than they look. So that's actually our strut bar. I didn't really touch on it earlier. That's what that is. These are actually some cheap Chinese hood struts, you know. I think I did a video on installing those. Nothing wild, crazy. So these here are our wonderful Fusion lighting headlights. So these things have never powered with LEDs. They have them in it. Supposedly they work. Who freaking knows? It's been a freaking nightmare. People have followed on Instagram with us, on Facebook with us. They know this thing was a freaking disaster. You know, they caused us basically $2,000 worth of damage on top of charging us $1,000 to do that damage. So it was pretty messed up. You know, cracked. They shipped them back damaged. They're cracked there. They're cracked on the other side as well. But we're not going to get it too hardcore into that. They're blacked out on the inside, which I think the blackout looks good, but that's about it because I lost the function of my factory LEDs. So, you know, just 3M on the grill to get rid of the chrome. That is an OEM lip. A lot of people do not buy the OEM. I did. Now, these, and again, they're in a video I showed install on them. These are quick latches. They, you know, you push them in, they release, easily takes off or not quick. Yeah, they're quick latches is what they're called, but they're like a quick release. So pop them, it comes off. Now, this here is our fender vent. That thing is functional. It goes through. This removes all of our turbulent air that's in our front wheel well when we're going around turns and all that stuff. It pulls it all out, gets it all out, all that good stuff. These are functional. They're not for looks. I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, they're hideous, you should remove them. They're there for a reason. You know, we're not trying to get scene points by having fender vents, trust me. Our 3 sponsors that finished out the season with us. We did a video. I don't know if I posted it on YouTube or not, but we removed Corksport because I did not believe in what they wanted me to say. I did not believe in their beliefs. So rather than being threatened over my beliefs and being threatened, I said, screw you guys, we're done, you're gone. So those are our 3 sponsors. You know, Powerneedy's been with us since the beginning. Mishimoto joined on this last year. We have the filter from them that's on the car. In fact, if we look over here, don't mind my oil from my recent oil change, all those Mishimoto parts need to still go on. That right there is the The big box, I believe, is our catch can setup. The medium box, I believe, is our oil cooler. And then all those other boxes are things to install those, all that crazy stuff. It's actually a pretty nice setup. I actually really like that setup. I just haven't had the time to be able to do that. We were gonna do it, transmission problems, there we are. So that's where they are. Clutch Masters is who supplied our clutch. Again, check out that video if you want to see it. So, you know, our numbers, this last week somebody was like, oh, you just slapped, you know, NASCAR numbers on the side. You're not a race car. People just slap numbers on the side and think it's a race car. Ha, proved you wrong. We actually go on track. Okay, the next thing though is, well, hood is actually wrapped in the same 3M wrap along with our chrome off the side. All that's gone. I do not like chrome. I do not want chrome, nothing. I'm not that fond of it. Anything crazy like that. Sorry, got distracted, stepped on a rock. So next thing, we get a lot of questions about this. This is our base and our spoiler. This here is actually wrapped. So underneath this section here is actually painted white. It is body matched. I just wrapped it white as soon as I got it back to match the rest of the roof. That's all it is, nothing crazy. It's actually painted. We didn't cheap out. So this is base and our spoiler. Now, this is where people really get interested. You'll see this is how it is attached. It's actually little bolts that go through it. This is, a lot of people call them spoiler extensions. We'll kind of see if we can get rid of that sun glare a little bit. A lot of people call these spoiler extensions. That's not what they're called. They're called gurney flaps. They are designed to basically create extra downforce by pushing the air off the back of the spoiler, forcing the car to go down without creating a crazy ton of drag. Now, this here, it is larger than what most gurney flaps are. Most are only like a 1/4 inch tall. It is large for a gurney flap. That's primarily for looks. But these here, we'll kind of get into these. You know, these are titanium custom made hardware. These are sold specifically by Powerneedy Motorsport. Not sure if you can see inside it, but these nuts actually fit inside the washer. There's a little groove. They go inside the washer. So that's that, you know, little M, our license plate. If you want to Google it, we're Evil 3. I mean, come to find out, Facebook actually tracks that. So if you punch in Evil 3 on Facebook, it pulls up our car. So Excella, this is the correct badging for the car. Now, we'll kind of walk around. Yeah, this is, you know, my lovely garage. We've been compiling stuff. It's been getting crazy hectic in here. But we'll kind of go over here. You know, this is our body damage all along here. You know, caught our door. Down in here, down in here, down there. So all of that damage, though, is from our recent accident. That's what caused our end of season. Granted, if we wouldn't have called the end of season, I probably would have lost my transmission out on track. So, I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. All right, that's gonna go ahead. That's gonna wrap up this video. Now, that pretty much, you know, summarizes most of what's done to the car. There's, you know, a few stuff here and there that I probably forgot. Again, you can check out that link. It'll tell you what I forgot. All that stuff, it's all good. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut this video. This is the end of the season, so I will be actually filming the beginning of the next season is filming tonight. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pop the car back up so that it's level and we can kind of start working on it. But that's the end of season 1. See you on the next season. Until then, have a good one.